Willie D Live.
It's Willie D, y'all. Back with another episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. In the studio, Cliff Blodgett. Yay. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, long time coming, man. Long
yeah.
time coming. Boy, we got some ground to catch up on, huh?
Yep.
Hey, how does a computer science major who is an engineer by trade from Seattle ends up in Houston, Texas, making music with the Geto Boys as a co-owner of Rap-A-Lot Records?
It's quite a wild story, actually.
Yeah. You got a hell of a story, man. Very interesting.
Yep. So how that went is that I was going to Evergreen State College. I was in university, and which is up in Seattle area. And I was in the computer science and artificial intelligence programs, but I was able to ace out a lot of it because I had previously worked in the military with computers and in my career before going to school. So there was a lot of things I could test out of. So I tested out of a huge block of stuff, but I had a credit requirement. And so to get my credit requirement, I said, I want to do something fun. So I started experimenting with computers, programming them to do algorithmic composition. So I was burning off extra credits doing that. And we did all this music, and then friends up there heard what I was doing and people I bumped into and wanted to get in on it. And we started recording stuff. And so when I finished school and I got my degree, we went down to Houston because my wife's family's down here. And we were in Houston, and there was a record store. And a lady named Linda Walker owned the record store on Fuquay.
Now, what's the name of this record store?
I forgot the name of the record store.
Fuquay?
Yeah.
I know that record store.
Yeah.
But I don't know the name of it. I know the record store, though, because that was right up the street from Richard Simmons' studio, Ultimate Sounds.
Yeah. And you know that record store because you guys had passed by there, and on that original single, you had populated that record store with that single. That's why she knew who you guys were. So she said, what have you been doing? And so I said, well, I've been doing all this music while I was up at university, and let me play some. I had a cassette, and I played some. And she said, wow, I know this guy that's got a group, and these guys, they're rappers, and they are really, really good. But the production is really, really bad. And so
but you were doing pop at that time, though, right?
Not really. It was, I don't even know what to call it. It was sampling, though, just like you do with rap music, though.
Yeah,
but it was just a little bit of a different vibe.
And soul, R&B?
Yeah, we were doing it, but we just weren't rapping on it.
Yeah. Are you working with Carl Stevenson at this time?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
In fact, Carl was living in our house.
Okay.
And Doug and everybody, Aaron, the whole crew. And so, because we all went to school together.
Now, how is this happening, man? What is Teresa saying while all of these guys are coming in and out of our house and y'all making all of this music that she don't even know if it's going to work out or not?
Well, since we're in school and we were finishing school and I was burning credits to finish school, in fact, while we're at school, she already had a degree before I went back to university. And so I told her, you just can't sit and do nothing while I'm in school. She said, well, I need to work. I said, no, we'll figure that part out. We'll do something. You go to school too. So she went and got a second degree. So we went to school together, which was always a dream that we had.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. So she was down with the whole thing.
Right.
Because she was part of it and right there. And so when Linda Walker went and heard that tape, she said, she says, kind of like, like Reese's peanut butter, like you put the chocolate and the peanut butter together and then wow.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you put that production with these guys. She said, oh, you got to call this guy. Let me give you the number. She ran and got James's number. And then she said, really, you need to call him. And so I said, okay. And so a few days later, I called James, and he was at the original car lot on
Shepherd.
North Shepherd, yeah. And he said, yeah, I'm James, and we talked about, and I ran into Linda, and I got this music and everything. She said, you got to hear this music. He said, okay, if I got to hear it, come on. So I came up there, and then the original, like Reddy Red and Johnny C and all that, they were living up at the car lot.
Yeah, Raheem.
Yeah, and they all gathered around, and I played the cassette tape, and they're like, wow. And then they played their Car Freak single and some other stuff, and I'm like, whoa. And so then I said, you know what? I still have a mixing board and an 8-track and all sorts of other stuff, and a sequencer and everything that I was using that I never sold while I was in school doing the music. And I said, you know what? I'm going to drag this stuff down there tomorrow. What do you think? And James was like, yeah, let's do it. So the next day we set up on the conference table at the car lot. They had a little conference room with a conference table. We set all that stuff up on the conference table and started recording Making Trouble.
Mm.
And we recorded Making Trouble on the conference table at the car lot.